Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. So if you are just now joining, don't forget to subscribe before leaving and give this video a thumbs up and follow me on all my social media.
And now that we got that stuff out of the way, we can get started.
Real quickly before we get to the pros and cons, I just want to give a little bit of a backstory on the palette and eye base. It was created by Plouise, which her name is Paige. I'm not sure if Louise is her middle or last name, but I do know her first name is Paige. She is known for creating these beautiful, colorful looks. I will put her name up on the screen for you so you can go check her out on Instagram and check out her looks. She does have a makeup academy, so she does teach these things too. She is based out of the UK. This eye base is supposed to simulate the Select Cover Up by MAC, which is this little guy right here, which I'll get into. She is a phenomenal makeup artist. I just am in love with her work, which is why I was so excited to buy her palette and her eye base, because when you look at someone's art like that and you see the tools that you use, it immediately makes me want to try what they're trying. So I will say that was a huge reason why I purchased this. She used to work for MAC years and years ago, and then now has branched off and made her own brand, and we're going to talk about it. So let's get started with the pros. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the palette. Here is the packaging. It comes with a beautiful little sleeve. Here is the back of it. It has all the little information. Ooh. Comes with a little plastic sleeve in the inside to protect it. And here's what it looks like. And then here is the eye base. So I want to talk about the pros first, and then we will jump into the cons. This palette is so beautiful. I absolutely love the colors. Specifically, the one that excited me the most was this mustard shade, which I'm assuming it was one of her favorites because she named it P. Louise. It is just a beautiful, beautiful mustard yellow. I love the neutrals in it. It does look a little intimidating to some people. If you were just to look at this, you just see a lot of warm. I'm looking at the monitor right now because I'm like, it's pretty warm palette. A lot of beautiful neutral shades, so you could easily make a nice soft eye look with this. This palette has a beautiful shade range. If I were to create a palette of my own, this is probably what it would look like, if not very similar to this, because this just screams me. I am obsessed with the colors in this palette. I did try to use all of them in this eye look today. The only two colors I did not use from the palette on my eyes today is the Latte color and then Slay. Those are the only two, but I used every other color on my face today. Packaging is like a nice little cardboard. If you have any BH palettes or even like the Anastasia like contour palette, same material. It's made out of the same stuff. It feels the same in the hand. It does have a nice little mirror that's really dirty already. I've only used this palette for this particular tutorial. I haven't even tried it other than that. But this palette so far is super nice and sturdy, and I love the pan sizes, the color selection, and the quality of the shadows. Awesome. Now talking about the eye base, if you have not checked out the eye base or seen it, it's supposed to be comparable to the MAC Select Cover Up, which is actually what I use every single day. This is what I use to carve out my brows, to set my lids. I love this concealer for prepping and priming my eye. This is a super awesome concealer for prepping and priming the eye. A long time ago, Paige used to use this very same concealer, which a lot of the time I think they still do, which is why she just tried to make a better formula of it, which is a thicker consistency. So even though it says eye base, it's basically a concealer. It's what they're using to set, prime, and cover up any discoloration or imperfection on the lid. This eye base is a lot tackier than the cover up. It's a lot thicker than the Select Cover Up. It's really nice. I want to give it a few more tries with different brushes, because the two brushes that I had, it just made it a little bit more difficult with spreading it around. But I did use it to cut my crease and prep and prime and carve out my underneath of my eyebrow. I got mine in its Rumor in the shade 0.5. Now moving on to the cons. My cons for this entire experience, purchasing, trying out the product. It took about 3 weeks to receive the product. I literally just got it this morning, and I ordered it almost a month ago. I know it's gonna take a long time, obviously going from the UK to the US, so I did expect it to take a long time. When I received this package, I was really excited about the shadows. It was fairly dirty in here, so a lot of the shadow, none of them are cracked or broken, but there was just a lot of shadow residue all over the package, which is why I took out the plastic thing like immediately, because that was the dirtiest. The mirror in here came like this. It was already really dirty, so I will say that was definitely a downfall. I wasn't really happy about that, but I can forgive that because I was really excited just about the overall of the palette. One thing I will say though, when I opened, I have to smell it, because when I opened this palette, it smelled like paint thinner. It has like a really, like if you sniff these shadows, I feel like
you could get high sniffing this.
I'm not sure what they use to glue in these shadow pans. It doesn't bother my eyes at all, but the pans themselves smell like paint thinner. It's like really, I literally smells like paint thinner. Like if you walk into Home Depot and you go to like the section where the paint cans are and there's paint thinner, that's exactly what it smells like. I usually am not bothered by eyeshadows, but eyeshadows usually don't smell like that. So I'm not sure why it does, but it's a really strong scent. It did make me a little hesitant to put it on my eyes, just because I'm like, that shouldn't smell like that. I've never smelled an eyeshadow palette that smelled like this. So that's definitely 100% a con for me. I don't need my eyeshadows to smell like cherries and chocolate or whatever other thing you can think of, but I was not expecting it to smell so strongly of a paint thinner. But aside from that, I feel like the product works very well, and I'm very happy with the quality of the eyeshadow. The palette itself, I think, could use a little bit more work with obviously scent, or at least just to not make it smell like it's toxic to put on the face. Now moving on to the eye base. Now my con with this. This was the thing I was most excited to try. And I wanted to show you, I do have my Select cover up. This thing is like dunzo. I literally use this till the very end. I always keep a backup of it. So I wanted to show you a brand new Select cover up to the brand new Plouise eye base. I was actually really disappointed with the eye base. Not for what you're thinking I was disappointed with. The quality and how it applied, I actually think it was a great product and it worked really well, and I'm excited to try it with other brushes. Was the packaging of this product. So the tube looks nice and full like the Select cover up. So when I received this tube this morning, I was so excited, and I'm thinking it's gonna be like the Select cover up, where it's nice and fat and it's full and it's thick all the way to the top to the very end. Like this thing is full of product. Now this eye base, it says this is a 15 milliliter eye base, whereas the Select cover up is 10 milliliters, but I feel like you get a full 10 milliliters because the package is full to the rim. Like you can't even, there's no air that's allowed to get in there because it's so full. Now the Plouise base, this base is so flat. This packaging is literally empty all the way down to the middle of the packaging. So in my eyes, it is a 10 milliliter. I feel like I didn't get my money's worth of the product. I am going to go through this so quickly. So the product itself worked well, but I was really disappointed with how much actually came in the tube. So you saw how much the Select cover up has. Like it was full. You get your full 10 milliliters for your $20 and it works amazingly. This is pretty much empty from the beginning. Like I can fold it in half. This is a 15 milliliter packaging, but in my eyes, you are only getting 10 milliliters of product. You are not getting your money's worth because look how much is left. Like this whole top half of the tube is empty. So to me, you're definitely getting 10 milliliters with the Plouise, even though I bought the 15 milliliter packaging. It doesn't, I just don't feel like it's the same amount of product. I feel like you get more with the MAC Select cover up. And the MAC Select cover up, I feel like lasts me quite some time. I use it every single day to do my brows and lids. This particular product with the Plouise base, I feel like I'm going to go through it very quickly. I paid a good amount for a very little product, and I actually had to use more of the product to get the same result that I get with the MAC Select cover up. I don't think I would be as disappointed with this product if it was actually full. Now, because I only got a little amount and I paid a decent amount for it on top of shipping, I feel like I should have gotten a full tube, which I did not. So that is a huge no-no for me. I'm excited to try the MAC Select cover-up with the Plouise palette to see how that performs. Because if it does perform the way the MAC Select cover-up usually performs for me, I will 100% just stick to my MAC Select cover-up and say goodbye to this guy. I think at this point, I'm just so disappointed with how little product I got in the tube for the amount of money I paid, how much time I had to wait to get it. I did like the product, but I wasn't so in love with it that I would want to wait another 3 weeks just to get half a tube of product, if that makes sense.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's just, I had such high expectations for this brand and I was just a little let down, so I'm kind of sad.
That's everything I have to say about the brand and my experience with purchasing from them and the quality of the products that I received. But now we can jump
into the tutorial.
I'm then gonna go back in with the shade Burnt, which is a really deep coral. Now going back in with the shade Plouise, I'm going to buff out and blur out the edges. Going back in with the shade Bestie, which is the darkest shade in the palette, I'm going to be placing it on the outer portion of my eye just to deepen the outer corner. In with Queen, the red shade, I'm going to buff over the outer corner and just deepen the red a little bit more before we cut my crease. Now taking a flat packing brush, I'm going to go in with the shade Charm. Now going back in with the shade Contour, which is the deep berry color in the palette. I'm going to be placing this on the outer corner and buffing it into the white. Now I'm going to be going in with the shade Sunkissed, which is the orange shade from the palette. I basically used almost every bright shade in this palette. I'm going to take the shade Trippin'. And with this color, I'm just going to be buffing it out to my brow because then I'm going to go back in with the shade Prin to highlight the underneath of my brow. Now I'm going to be applying a thick black wing liner. Now that I have my wing liner on, I'm going to do what I always do, and that is finish the other eye, put my foundation, my contour, basically put the rest of my face on, and then we're going to finish out the under of the eye and then pop some lashes on, so I will be right back. All right, so we are back with my face fully on. You just saw me put my lashes on for the final touch. So now I'm going to go ahead and we are going to complete the eye by putting shadow underneath on the bottom lash line. So what I want to do is I'm going to go in with the shade Burnt again. With this shade, I'm going to buff this completely under my lash line. Here, I'm going to be taking the shade Martini, which is this shade right here. And for the final touch, I will be going in with Bestie, which is the darkest shade in the palette, and I will be placing that just beneath where my wing is to deepen this outer corner to make it look really dramatic. To complete this look, I'm going to take a black Urban Decay 24/7 liner, and I'm just going to place it on my waterline, and I'm only going to bring it to the mid portion of my waterline, and then I'm going to apply some mascara.
From the top to the bottom, the top I stop. At the core I forgot, in the middle of my thoughts. Taking pause from my safety, the picture's there. The memory won't escape me, but why should I care? From the top to the bottom, the top I stop. At the core I forgot,